everybody. This is Randy Dalton coming to you from R&B Properties. This channel is to be talking about real estate as well as property management services. For the last month, I've been talking about property management services. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. And today we're going to be talking about real estate. Today we're going to be talking about two-family conversions. Is this a strategy that might be good for you? Well, I'd like to talk about that a little bit and see what we can come up with. All right. To start with, I'm going to go back a few years. I met a developer. This goes back about 4 or 5 years ago. Um, I took a look at some of his projects. He took a look at some of my projects. We talked for quite a while and got to know each other a bit. He said to me, he said, Randy, if you want to make money in real estate, you need to get involved in density intensification. You need to get involved in increasing density. And I've always kept that top of mind, always kept that top of mind. So whenever I look at projects, I look at a number of ways to be able to generate returns for me and for our investors. And one way we do that is with density intensification. So let's take a look at this a little bit. Many people buying today, they're buying single families. They're buying single family homes on Hamilton Mountain. Of course, buying in St. Catharines, Welland, Kitchener, many more municipalities throughout Ontario. When you buy a single family, though, today, given the increased values over the last few years in real estate, if you're buying a single family and running it as a single family, the numbers still work. So I want to do a quick analysis, a quick comparison. I'm going to take a look at one example. So I've got a client who just bought a single family on Hamilton Mountain. He paid $550,000 for that single family. So 20% down. He basically putting $110,000 down. He's getting a mortgage for 440,000. So what do the numbers look like? Mortgage payment $1,706.31. That's based on a 2.37% interest rate and a 30-year amortization. Taxes, we're estimating around 400, insurance around 200. And then we looked at it in terms of, okay, now what's he going to be able to generate as far as rents are concerned? We feel that it's probably going to be a bit of a stretch, but let's assume that he's going to be able to get $2,500 a month in rental income. What does that look like? Okay, he's got property management fees based on 2,500. You're paying probably around $200 a month. You're going to have repair and maintenance that you have to budget for, probably $100 a month. And then you've got vacancy costs. Again, we're estimating about $200 a month. So what does that look like? The income on that property, the income on that single family home, $2,500. The expenses on that single family home, $2,800. You're losing money every month. In this particular example, you're losing $300 a month, right? I used to be a member of RAIN, and I remember Don Campbell on stage repeatedly saying, don't buy negative cash flow, don't buy negative cash flow, don't buy negative cash flow. It will eat your lunch. And that was Don's words. I've kept that true. I have followed that advice throughout my investing career, and we have never purchased anything that generates negative cash flow. So would you buy this given that? Absolutely not, right? Like, who wants to spend $300 a month to have an investment property? It's not a good investment, right? So what if we take a look at this property, and now we're going to take a look at it in terms of converting the basement into a secondary suite. So we're going to do some increasing density. We're going to take a single family home and convert it to a two-family home. What's that going to end up looking like? Just to let you know, just my background, a little bit of experience. I'm an engineer by trade. Many of you know that. R&B Properties is a property management company, but we also have a construction arm, and we do pre-construction planning as well as construction. We've done many two-family conversions. And today, our costs to do a two-family conversion, we're running between 90,000 and 110,000. So what are the numbers going to look like if we do this as a two-family? You still got that down payment, right? Our purchase price was 550. We got to put 20% down, so 110,000. Now we've got renos. Let's say we split it down the middle. So our renovation cost is 100,000. Our investment's now 210,000, right? Is that our investment? No. No, absolutely not. Many people, when they purchase a single family and they follow this process, they take a 6 month open mortgage. They pay a slightly higher interest rate, but they get the added value of being able to pay that off at any time in the next 6 months. So what they do is they close on the property, they immediately get started in terms of doing the conversion to two family. They do all of their construction renovation work. They get a tenant for the main floor, they get a tenant for the basement. And then they go back to the bank and say, "Hey, I've added value to this property. I'd like to refinance." Bank will send an appraiser in, and likely they are going to see a lot more added value in that property. The bank's going to come back to you and say, "Yeah, based on the work that you've done, we see the value as being higher. We're prepared to give you a mortgage for 80% loan to value." So you're actually going to be able to pull some money out of the project. So how do you go about this? Well, in this case, this is a real life example actually. So we went to the realtor and said, "What's the ARV for this property?" He knew what we planned. He knew what the intentions were in terms of converting to two family. He knew how many bedrooms we're going to be generating in the basement, the kitchen, and the bathroom, the quality of the renovations that were going to be done. So based on all of that, he came back to us and said, "Your ARV after repair value or after rental value is going to be 620 to 630,000. So let's be conservative again, right? Let's assume it's 620,000. What's the numbers going to look like? Okay, well, added value, we're going to have a higher down payment, right? It's not the 110 now, it's going to be 124,000. But our net rental costs, we're pulling some money back out of the property. So our rental costs aren't 100,000. Our net renovation cost is only 44,000 because we're getting some money back out of the property. So our total cash in is now 168,000, not 210, 168,000. Now, what's that going to look like in terms of your operating? We feel rents with a two-family conversion, your rents are going to be somewhere in the $3,500 range. So how does that work in terms of your expenses? A mortgage payment, you got a higher mortgage, right? So the mortgage payment is going to be higher. $1,923.47. Your taxes still going to be around 400. Your insurance still going to be around 200. Property management fees are going to go up though. You've got two units, two tenants, so your property manager is going to charge a little bit more. We're budgeting $300. Repair and maintenance is going to be a little bit higher. You've got two kitchens, two bathrooms, two units to worry about, not one. So we're budgeting $200 for repair and maintenance. And then your vacancy costs, because your rents are higher, when they become vacant, your vacancy allowance needs to be a little bit higher. So we're budgeting $300 for your vacancy allowance. So now what's it look like? The income's 3,500, right? That's the rent we said we were going to get. The expenses, that all adds up to about 3,300. Now we have positive cash flow. So we've bought a single family home that loses money. We've invested some money into that project in order to convert it to two family. We've refinanced, rented it out, and now we're actually able to turn a losing proposition into a winning proposition. We've got positive cash flow on this project, $200 a month or $2,400 a year. Now, one number I always like to look at is your cash on cash return. How much cash am I generating and how much cash is it costing me? That's a really important number for me. Maybe for others, maybe not, but it's a really important number for me. So in this particular case, the cash on cash return is 1.4%. It's not great, right? It's not great, but it's positive. And for some people, this might be a good project for them. For these clients, it absolutely was. So taking a look at this, your cash on cash return is 1.4%. Your mortgage pay down, I looked at it, and over a 10-year period, you're going to be paying down about 130,000 off of your mortgage. That works out to a 7.7% return on investment. And then your asset appreciation, we like to use 4%. Lots of people use 5, 6, 7%. They argue because it's the GTHA, it should be a higher number. They argue over the last 10, 15 years, it's been a higher number. We like to look at history. We like to be a little bit conservative. So we say, you know what, across the country since 1950, the real estate has been going up on average about 4% a year. So we use 4%. So is your return on investment 4%? No, 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 absolutely not. You've only invested 20%. Your asset, 100%, is growing by 4%, but you've only invested 20% of that. 80% of it comes from the bank, right? So that you're basically with real estate, and this is one great way of making the money, is when you're working with banks, you end up generating a 5 times multiplier. So that 4% is actually translating into a 20% return on investment, based on that 5 times multiplier, right? So perfect. So your total ROI now on this project is 29%. 20% from asset appreciation, 7.7% from the mortgage paydown, and 1.4% is your cash on cash return. 29, just over 29%. So now let the arguments begin. I'd love to see some comments down below. I'd love to hear from everybody. Would you invest in this project? You know, some are going to say yes, some are going to say no. It really depends on your why. If you're investing for cash flow, probably not, right? If you're investing, if you're retiring in a few years and you're looking to take your money, invest it somewhere and generate some income to replace what you're making now so that you can retire, it just doesn't work, right? At 1.4% cash on cash return, it just does not work for you. You'd be better off taking that money and giving it to a financial advisor who can probably get you 5, 6, 7% in the markets. A much better return for you than real estate is. But what if you were 30, 40 years old? What if retirement was 20, 30 years from now? What if, you wanted to put some money aside to help the kids when they're ready for university or college, and that's happening in the next 10 to 20 years? If that's where your situation is right now, if that's what your why is that you're wanting to save for retirement 30 years from now or help the kids through education, as an example, you may very well do this, right? Because there's a lot of income being generated down the road for mortgage paydown and the asset appreciation. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about all of this. I do want to sort of end it with a quick discussion about what R&B is doing. We love two-family conversions. We have bought many single-family homes over the years, and we are going through the process right now of converting many of them, if not all of them, to two families. It's going to take us a number of years to be able to get that done, but that is our plans and our intent. We love the increased density and what that generates for us in terms of a return. Um, and we are going to talk about that more probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to talk more about what R&B Properties is doing with respect to two-family conversions. So that is it for today. Remember, please hit the like button if you want to see more on this topic. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please go ahead and comment with regards to, would you invest in this project, yes or no? I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all for now. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. Bye for now.